Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and this is an explanation of the ending, post-credit scenes, and surprise cameos in Superman. Spoiler warning before I continue. I'm going to spoil everything that happens in this movie. I know it's early, but I know a lot of you have seen this movie and have a lot of questions. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, stop watching and come back later. Thank you. Okay, in this video, I'm going to explain who Supergirl Kara Zor-El is, what to expect from her film coming in June 2026, the significance of these two post-credit scenes, and one awesome Easter egg that you might have missed with Kara and Crypto in that final scene that clues us into where they could go from here and how crazy it could be. And this video is sponsored by Yamava Resort and Casino. We'll tell you more about them later on. And if you want to support New Rockstars and listen in on some bonus shop talk, we now have an audio-only podcast service called NR Underground, where our Danger Room podcast episodes cover topics like AI on movie YouTube and why some online think that every movie critic is a shill. If you are interested and able to support us doing that, please consider joining NR Underground by clicking on the link in the description. Okay, to understand the ending of this movie, I kind of have to recap the whole plot of the movie, so if you don't want to hear that, skip to this time. Okay, 3 years into Kal-El being Superman, after controversially intervening in Baravia's invasion of Jarhanpur, Superman gets his ass beat by the Hammer of Baravia, a disguise worn by Ultraman, a clone of Superman controlled by Lex Luthor, and exploited to perfectly match Superman's fighting style. Superman has Crypto, the super dog, but we find out he's temporarily fostering this dog. He's 3 months into dating Lois Lane, who grills him for the ethics of his actions, and we find out in this movie that Superman does use hypno glasses that change how he looks in the minds of others while he's wearing the glasses, which is an idea that comes from Superman number 330 from 1978. Lex, Ultraman, and the engineer break into the Fortress of Solitude and find a recording from Superman's birth parents, Zor-El and Lara Lorvan, where the extended recording that had been damaged before so that Superman was never able to hear it actually translates to them wanting their son to brutally conquer the Earth and restart the Kryptonian race by taking on as many wives as he can. Yikes. And of course, Lex broadcasts this as far and wide as he can, turning the public against Superman. Superman faces criticism from other vigilantes and metahumans, the Justice Gang, and a cameo from John Cena as Peacemaker. Superman turns himself in and he gets imprisoned in Lex's pocket universe, where Metamorpho weakens him with a kryptonite hand. This pocket universe is where Lex and other governments keep their prisoners, including Lex's ex-girlfriend who wrote a blog about him, and also where Lex uses super smart monkeys to write anti-Superman social media posts. We all saw what you did there, James Gunn. Lex murders a fan of Superman right in front of him, and it's heartbreaking, leading Metamorpho to have a change of heart to get Superman's help rescuing his son, baby Joey, across the way. They're able to break out, they reunite with Crypto, and they fall into an anti-proton river that sweeps them toward a black hole, but they're able to avoid getting sucked in by Superman using his super breath to blow them back out. Lois and Mr. Terrific, meanwhile, help Superman escape by breaking into the pocket reality, and we see how this pocket universe is very unstable. Jimmy Olsen in this movie is a surprising ladies' man, including a past relationship with Lex's girlfriend, Eve Teskmacher, who leaks to Jimmy selfies that reveal Lex's traitorous dealings with President Gurkos of Baravia to fund his invasion in exchange for half of the land of Jarhanpur that Lex wants to turn into a tech utopia where he can be king. Lex draws out a healing Superman by forcing the rift to spread through Metropolis and open a black hole beneath it. Superman and Mr. Terrific fight the engineer and Ultraman, the latter of whom Superman beats by getting Crypto to play fetch with all of Lex's drones, stopping Lex from being able to command Ultraman's moves. Superman dislocates his arm and lets Ultraman get swept by a bus into the black hole. Now, this clone is never explicitly stated to be Bizarro in the film, but his general dumb look and his ultimate fate flying into this black hole suggests that maybe on the other side of that black hole could one day be Bizarro's alternate Earth known as Hitre, or Earth backwards, and he could one day be known as Bizarro. I mean, that Earth is shaped like a cube, and all of those cube-shaped anti-protons going into that black hole earlier feel like they might be the building blocks for that eventual cubic-shaped Hitre. Meanwhile, an attempted invasion of Jarhanpur is stopped by Green Lantern and Metamorpho and Hawkgirl, who lets President Gurkos fall to his death. Superman, Crypto, and Mr. Terrific, meanwhile, get to Lex's floating command center, detached from the broken Luthor Corp tower, and Superman and Lex have an impassioned debate over whether Superman is a soulless alien god or an empathetic human. Crypto has enough of the conversation and ravages Lex, while Mr. Terrific seals the rift. And that brings us to the final minutes of the movie, with Lois and Jimmy's Daily Planet article making the rounds, exposing Lex Luthor's illegal deal with Baravia to try to get half of the land of Jarhanpur and a violation of Geneva Accords of using pocket universe technology. The public very quickly turns on Lex, like conveniently end of movie quickly. Sean Gunn makes a cameo as rival tech CEO Maxwell Lord, whose company Lord Tech appeared throughout the movie on tech devices, on the Meteor's baseball field, and on the building where Superman fights a kaiju kaiju. And Maxwell Lord says, the one thing that liberals and conservatives can finally agree on is that Lex Luthor sucks. Lex Luthor gets arrested and the soldiers say, get his bald ass to Belle Reve. Now this is interesting. Belle Reve is the correctional center in Louisiana in the DC universe where Project Argus hosts Task Force X, aka the Suicide Squad. And we saw this place also in the animated Creature Commando series, which is DCU canon right now. And it's where they have Task Force M, a version of Task Force X that just uses non-human / meta-human creatures. So Lex is not being imprisoned at Arkham or Blackgate, but rather a facility that we can see much sooner in the DCU, like in Peacemaker Season 2 or Creature Commando Season 2. Now, all of the prisoners who were in Lex's Pocket Universe are now freed. Lois pulls Superman aside for an interview and locks the lips and a kiss as they float in the Cleveland arcade. This is a real-life location. It's a beautiful Victorian structure built in 1890. It's got this gorgeous glass skylight, and she finally returns his I love you. The final scene of the movie takes us back to the Fortress of Solitude, where number 4, voiced by Alan Tudyk, is repaired after the engineers attack. He's now rocking a facial scar, and he wishes to go by the name Gary. He reads a Daily Planet with another front page story by Clark Kent honoring Molly, the poor falafel vendor whom Lex murdered. Then we hear a crash off screen, and Gary says that Superman's cousin has returned, and in stumbles Millie Alcock as Kara Zor-El, drunk as a skunk. She says, what the hell, dude? Why did he move the door? And Superman says, I didn't move the door. And Kara asks, where's my dog? And then Crypto perks up from his bed by an anvil and flies over to Kara, tackling her and smashing her to the floor. Whereas Superman hated it when Crypto pounced on him, Kara just laughs and laughs. Superman says, see, this is why he has behavioral issues. And Gary agrees, no boundaries. It's not healthy, is it? Now, this anvil is actually a really cool Easter egg because hanging off the end of it, you'll notice, is this hammer. And I'm pretty sure this is the Cosmic Anvil / Solar Hammer. It's from the All-Star Superman run. Number 2, Superman uses this to forge miniature suns that he feeds to a baby sun eater that he keeps as a pet in the fortress. Sun eaters are like a weaponized entity that seeks out vibrant stars and swallows them, resulting in the dying star going supernova. Superman has an infant version of one of these in the fortress. But the fact that the anvil in this shot is right beside Crypto's food bowls, I wonder if James Gunn is saying that Superman has been feeding Crypto miniature stars that he forges here. That would be nuts. Kara gets to her feet and takes Crypto out with her, shouting back, thanks for watching him, bitch. Superman tells Gary she likes to go party on other planets with red suns. Because of our metabolism, you can't get drunk on a planet with a yellow sun. He's referring to the fact that the home star that Krypton used to orbit around was named Rao, and that is a red sun. Then a new robot, number 22, puts on music. The music of Swedish alternative band Teddy Bear, the second version of their song called Punk Rocker, a callback to Superman and Lois's earlier conversation about what it means to be punk rock in this world. And now Superman suggested that maybe thinking everyone and everything he's met has some beauty in it is, in a way, punk rock. James Gunn's reboot of Superman has us all thinking about Superman's origins. Superman made his debut in Action Comics number 1, one of the most impactful and valuable comics ever made. And now, you, me, and anybody else who cares has a chance to win their very own thanks to Yamava Resort and Casino. Yamava Resort and Casino at San Manuel is hands down the best casino in California and the only AAA 5-diamond casino hotel in the country. We took a new Rockstars company retreat there recently and we had an incredible time. We had a ball at the casino and also had some truly phenomenal meals at the Pines Modern Steakhouse. The hotel rooms were fantastic and the staff were incredible, and there were also so many awesome side quests like the Y Lounge, Yamava's Theater, Serrano Spa, and the Hidden Cigar Lounge. And of course, Action Comics number 1. I got to hold this. Of course, with its protective sleeve, and I had to wear gloves, but I got to hold it, and it was like holding a piece of history. From now until August 5th, you have a chance to win your very own Action Comics number 1 by playing at Yamava Resort and Casino. You must be 21, and there's more details available at yamava.com/newrockstars. But there's really only one question you need to ask yourself. You in? Thank you so much to Yamava Resort and Casino for sponsoring this video. Learn more and start planning your trip today by going to yamava.com/newrockstars or by clicking the link in the description below. Robot 22, who only vocalizes, is a vocal cameo by the DC Amelia Harcourt actor and James Gunn's wife, Jennifer Holland. As he did in the opening scene, number 4 heals Superman by playing the soothing recording of his parents. But now, instead of Jor-El and Lara's creepy message of conquest and harem building, it's all home movies of Jonathan and Martha Kent scenes with young Clark growing up on their Kansas farm. Specifically, we see one where Pa Kent held up a young Clark to make him feel like the boy was flying. The kind of thing a lot of us dads do and did with our dads. And what did we call it? We called it Superman. So, Millie Alcock is playing Supergirl in next summer's Supergirl film, releasing June 26, 2026. This film was titled Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, but James Gunn changed the title to just Supergirl, saying he wasn't crazy about the character name, phrase, title structure. This movie is being directed by I, Tonya director Craig Gillespie from a script by Ana Nogueira. James Gunn shared this image from the set of Supergirl a few months back, showing Kara in a bar that seems to be part of this moment in Tom King's 2021 Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow comic run. That storyline was seen as a cosmic True Grit style story with really interesting narration. The announced premise of this Supergirl film is, while celebrating her 21st birthday, Kara Zor-El travels across the galaxy with Krypto, during which she meets the young Ruthie Marie Knoll and goes on a murderous quest for revenge. Jason Momoa is joining this cast as Lobo, who is just this badass, drunken alien mercenary and a bounty hunter from the utopian planet called Zarnia. Ruthie is the narrator character of Tom King's comic storyline, and she's going to be played in this movie by Eve Ridley. Ruthie is looking for justice for her father's death at the hands of Krem of the Yellow Hills, who's going to be played by Belgian actor Matthias Schoenaerts. I'm so sorry I mispronounced your name, but you were so good in everything I've seen you in. Also in this cast are going to be David Krumholtz as Zor-El, Kara's father, brother to Jor-El, who is played by Bradley Cooper in this universe, and Emily Beecham plays Allura Inze, Kara's mother. So the origin story for Supergirl is that before Krypton was destroyed, her father Zor-El built a protective dome around of Krypton's cities named Argo City to create a germ-proof atmosphere initially. But then, when the cataclysm affects Krypton, the dome shielded the city from that destruction, and this now floating city drifts away from the orbit of Rao, their red sun. Zor-El was chosen as the city's leader and marries Allura Inze, and they have the baby Kara Zor-El. When Kara was a toddler, he installed a jet drive to try to steer the city toward a habitable planet, and at this point he discovers that his nephew, Kal-El, was alive on Earth. But when they approached our yellow sun, the Argonians gain powers, and then a conflict over whether they should have powers leads to the city floating away from our solar system. But then when Kara reaches the age of 15, a meteor swarm damages Argo City, so her parents build a rocket for Kara to go to Earth to be with her cousin Kal-El. Zor-El and Allura go into the survival zone as Argo City's only survivors. Based on the casting of Millie Alcock, I'm guessing we're not too many years after her arrival on Earth, but it does sound like she's been on Earth for maybe 6 years. And whatever binge she was just on during the events of this film, drinking in bars in the orbit of Red Sun so that her metabolism will be affected by the alcohol, is going to be part of the prologue of next year's Supergirl film, pre-gaming for her 21st birthday. I think Alcock is so funny in the scene. I love seeing her let loose after she had to be so wound up as a young Rhaenyra Targaryen in HBO's House of the Dragon season 1. I'm also excited to see what was one of the best elements of this movie, Krypto, return next summer to co-star with the Kryptonian that really gets him. So why is that cosmic anvil / solar hammer so important? Well, before I get to that, to honor Krypto, we do have this amazing Doghouse of Solitude shirt that you can go get at our merch store, nerdriot.shop. It's like one of my favorite shirts that we've ever released. Getting one of these is one of the best ways you can support us. Okay, why I love the cosmic anvil Easter egg is that it could imply the importance of Krypto having a taste for baby sons in the Supergirl film. In Superman, we see Metamorpho go through this process of forging an infant star between his hands using the elemental ingredients and spinning it real fast until it produces fusion. It's small enough that it can be contained within a room. There's also just a thing in DC Comics of Brainiac shrinking Kryptonian cities like Kandor. Could he also shrink Argo City or Krypton's red sun of Rao? I mean, the way Superman defeats Lex and Ultraman in this movie is by getting Krypto to fetch ball-shaped objects. I think this idea of Krypto eating baby stars, while crazy, is the kind of weird that James Gunn could explore in his future cosmic mythology. While Superman is shaping up to be a solid success, the real test of James Gunn's DCU will come next summer with Supergirl. If that is even a modest hit, which I think it has a good chance of being, we could be looking at a decade at least of a dominant DCU to rival and maybe even surpass the MCU. Because by this time next year, we will have also had a second season of Peacemaker, an HBO Lanterns series starring Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre from Damon Lindelof. We're gonna have trailers for an R-rated Clayface film that shows us the DCU Gotham. We're gonna probably have some announcements of who the DCU Batman will be. There was a Gotham City Easter egg in the Superman film on a highway road sign as people fled Metropolis. So the two post-credit scenes of the Superman film are less of the lore-building teases that like Marvel Studios began overplaying their hand with, but the mid-credit tag is just this stunning shot of Superman and Krypto together on the moon looking at Earth. This comes directly from Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely's All-Star Superman #6, but the shot in the movie is like a bit more forced perspective. perspective. The Earth would never look this big as seen from the moon, but it is an undeniably cinematic shot that makes Superman look smaller in frame than the Earth itself, and it's a humbling shot. And the way Krypto hugs Superman, it's one of just the more affectionate moments between the man and the creature. But then, the scene at the very end of the credits takes us back to Superman and Mr. Terrific in the aftermath of the battle. They both look at a jagged crack in a historic building. Mr. Terrific notices Superman's judgmental stare and asks a defensive, "What?" And Superman points and just says, "It's a little off." Mr. Terrific snaps, "What do you want me to do? Do you want me to take it apart and put it back together?" Superman says, No, it was just..." And Mr. Terrific asks, "Just what?" And then he storms off as Superman calls after him, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to bum you out." Mr. Terrific kicks a piece of rubble, and Superman continues, "I shouldn't have brought it up." And then he says to himself, "Darn it, I can be such a jerk sometimes." So this is just a cute moment between the two, and also sets up Mr. Terrific to be a big part of the future. I mean, this guy needs his own spin-off film or a spin-off series. Was he the one who built Superman's hypno glasses for him? I am curious to see if this interdimensional rift scarring does come back in the DCU in some way. Like, did something get ruptured? Are there other pocket universes that are equally unstable now? Did some prisoners get out of Lex's pocket universe who should not have gotten out? Especially with Maxwell Lord's comments, the fact that Lord and the Justice Gang and Rick Flag Sr. are going to return in Peacemaker Season 2, the first season of which introduced the idea of a quantum unfolding chamber. I mean, maybe the focus on the rift being uneven is a clue that certain details about the reality of Peacemaker Season 1, like its ending scene showing the DCEU Justice League, could have warped that reality in a specific way to now merge it with this new DCU. Like, James Gunn could be using this quantum logic to just kind of justify why there are some historic anomalistic glitches in the matrix of the DCU that just carried over from the DCEU. And he could be using this to make his specific exceptions for everything in the 2021 Suicide Squad film and in Blue Beetle. Seems like this is all going to connect. With Metamorpho joining the Justice Gang after stopping Bravia, I feel like we're going to see Anthony Kerrigan in this upcoming season. Like, we just had a black hole open up under Metropolis and Ultraman went flying down into it. You can't tell me that's not going to create issues that either Task Force M or Guy Gardner's buddies with the Green Lantern Corps, Hal Jordan and John Stewart, are going to have to deal with in some way. There were also implications in this movie that the country of Jarhanpur had a past of corrupt leadership, a nod to the character Rama Khan, who has ties with Atlantis. There is also, in the Hall of Justice, a massive mural that seems to depict the history of this DC universe that I'm going to do my best to break down in tomorrow's Easter egg video. I think there's a lot of Golden Age DC heroes in the lineups there. Honestly, you can look anywhere in this movie and see references to future DC titles that will be happening, and I'm so excited to be embarking on this era. And thanks again to Yamava Resort and Casino for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description below to start planning your trip and to find out more about how you can win Action Comics #1. Comment down below with your thoughts, and a special thanks to one of our YouTube members, Paulo Bianca, who supports us at the executive producer level. Follow me at EA Voss and subscribe to all channels in the New Rockstars network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.